Donald Trump did something really weird. He publicly sided with Hamas, or at least he's saying he prefers Hamas over rival Gaza gangs. Let me explain what's going on here because it's very interesting. In the wake of the Israeli Gaza deal, I hesitate to call it a peace deal since really none of the underlying conflict is resolved. But in the wake of that deal, something started to happen that often happens, which is that Hamas has started to reassert control in the Gaza Strip. Now, this is not about whether Benjamin Netanyahu is good. He's not. This is not about whether Israeli settlements in Palestinian territory are legal. They are illegal by international law. What I'm talking about here is about something that often happens. Think back to when Biden executed Donald Trump's plan to leave Afghanistan. The Taliban came in and started to reassert control. And Trump attacked Biden for that. Even though it would have happened if Trump had carried out the plan, it happens often. We have something analogous to that happening in Gaza right now, which is that there is reporting that Hamas has been killing Palestinian opponents in Gaza City's main square. These are like public executions that are taking place. These are fights between Hamas and local militias who do not like Hamas. Got it. So Trump is asked about this. And what does he say? He goes, well, some of those militias, he calls them gangs, some of them are bad people. And I'm okay with this.
And initially speaking, they did take out a couple of gangs that were very bad, very, very bad gangs. And they did take them out and they killed a number of gang members. And that didn't bother me much, to be honest with you. That's okay. It's a couple of very bad gangs. It's no different than other countries. Like Venezuela sent their gangs into us, and we took care of those gangs. We have Washington, D.C. is one of the safest cities in the country. It was one of the...
So understand that Donald Trump is supporting Hamas here. After all of this, Trump is saying, I like Hamas more than those militias. Good for them. Glad to see them doing that. But the context of this entire deal, this entire conflict for years, has been Hamas is bad and needs to be removed, period. Hamas being in control, reasserting control, would indicate a failure in resolving the problems that Trump identified in that region. Trump's whole play has been, or has become now, if a group does something useful for me, I'll praise them, even if what that is killing people in public. Now, normally, when a group like Hamas is reestablishing control, the international goal is demilitarization. Endorsing what they're doing, which is what Trump is doing here, is pretty crazy. You don't tend to see that. And the standard post-conflict policy usually calls for either, sometimes you see independent security forces under international supervision, human rights monitors, aid that is sometimes tied to disarmament. The point is prevent exactly what we are now seeing, which is one faction executing rivals in the town square while claiming, hey, we're here to restore order. When Trump publicly sides with Hamas, Trump is signaling that authoritarian control is better than a democratic transition. And it is the same mistake that the United States made when it empowered the Taliban to stabilize Afghanistan, which is a short-term win with a long-term disaster. Now, the irony here, if there is any, and this is actually tragic to even say irony, it seems sort of like we're minimizing, but there's a sick irony that Trump's own rhetoric undercuts his strong on terror branding. American law designates Hamas as a terrorist organization. Now, you could say, well, is that right? Is that fair? I know there are some in my audience who go, no, Hamas is not a terrorist organization, or they're no more terroristic than the IDF, or put that aside for a second. The internal logic of it is the U.S. has designated Hamas a terrorist organization, and no sitting president has ever described violence by that group in positive terms. So when he goes, well, I do like Hamas more than the militias, he is contradicting decades of bipartisan foreign policy and telegraphing that actually ideology doesn't matter to him. Who's winning at the moment, and is that useful to him? And so not that Trump's credibility on this conflict couldn't be lower, just like Netanyahu's credibility on the conflict couldn't be lower. But Trump saying, I like what Hamas is doing with public killings with no due process is not something I had on my bingo card.